Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Casual Chaos. This week I have one of my Special Forces castmates, Christie Pearce. Welcome to Casual Chaos.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited. So, we went through Special Forces together, and it was probably one of the most intense things I think any of us have ever done. How are you doing post Special Forces?
I'm doing good. I think realizing I faced all my fears and got through it,
Definitely.
definitely it's hard to watch, I'll say. Like I enjoyed being there, but like when you have to reflect back and watch it over and watch yourself fail miserably. That's hard to watch, but knowing I got through it, I'm okay.
Honestly, I feel like out of everybody, you and Sean were really tough on yourselves. And I
Yes.
think that has to do with being in the Olympics and being a part of such a competitive sport. So I think you guys were amazing. Like you killed it. You inspired, I think, all of us. You were just so tough and got through every challenge. But I think due to what your line of work was and what you did with your career, it made you guys so tough on yourselves. Meanwhile, I was just happy to get through the day. I was like,
No, you
thank
killed
God.
it. No, we draw something from each other. I'm hard on myself. Like I'm disappointed in myself if I'm like not finishing the task the way I wanted to, but then just seeing how you're getting through it and how you're like just always like had a smile on your face and was like on to the next. Like I was just appreciative of that because I pulled that energy to help me get through. Like we all bring something different. So I definitely did appreciate how you went about it. And I pulled stuff from you to get me through.
Oh, you're so sweet. To give our listeners a little bit of a background on who you are, I
Mhm.
feel like you should give your introduction because it's just
Yeah.
so badass. I don't want to be like, okay, guys, this is Christy. I mean, you guys should know who she is. She was a captain of the U.S. women's national soccer team, but I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, it was a long career, very 19-year career playing for the US.
The longest standing, by the way, guys.
It was a crazy time, but I was able to compete in 5 World Cups and I won 2 of them. And I competed in 4 Olympics, winning 3 gold medals and 1 silver. And I also was able to have 2 children along the way. So I have 2 beautiful daughters, Riley and Reese, who are 19 and 15 now. So it was definitely a great journey, great career that I was able to have that work life balance and also being a mom. So it was an awesome experience.
Definitely. So, going through that and then going on to special forces, how was leading a national soccer team for 8 years and undergoing special forces training in Morocco for 10 days different?
It was so different because I was playing sports as my comfort zone. I've been doing it my whole life. And, when you're preparing for something, I was always preparing for a World Cup or I was always preparing for Olympics. And it's a 4-year process and you're training both on the mental and physical side. I was ready. I was not ready for special forces in any means. Yeah, you have a little bit of that background, but it's always that fear of the unknown. We had no idea what was going to happen next. And
Yeah.
that is a mental challenge within itself.
So, you would say special forces was more mentally challenging than playing on the US Olympic team.
100%. Yeah, because I knew it was coming. Yeah, a game plan may not work out, but you know how to adjust and adapt. Like I had no idea it was going to be thrown at me. I
Yeah.
had no idea. Am I afraid of heights? I have no idea. Can I, I know I couldn't swim. I knew I wasn't comfortable in water, but I'm like, can I manage?
But you passed that. Well,
Yeah,
you passed that
almost. Yeah,
challenge.
almost. But again, you're just like, how do you, like, you don't know. We're thrown into these situations we've never been put into. And then you're getting screamed and yelled at, and you're trying to like assess what's going around. So you have all these distractions. It was different. I think being an athlete helps you push through those situations.
Yeah. I
But at the
mean,
same
you
time,
guys, the athletes on the course, you guys were just so physically fit. And I think that's just like your muscle memory, that drive that you guys always have to push through. So, all of the athletes on special forces, like you guys, I'm sure inspired me, Bree, Mark, just all of us who, because I mean, you guys could outrun me for miles. I'm like trying to keep up in the back. I'm like,
you're mentally tough though. You have to give yourself more credit.
Yeah.
Because as many times as you may have wanted to tap out, I was in the same mindset at times where I'm like, my knee's not going to make it, or like, I'm just exhausted. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
Those, that inner voice starts talking to you, but you find a way to keep going forward.
No, definitely. Do you think people actually realize how tough Special Forces was by just watching it?
No, absolutely not. Like even people I talk to have
I
no clue.
can't.
You know,
No, and I thought it was so funny because even in our group chat when Randall was like, they didn't show half the we went through,
oh yeah.
and like honestly, it was day 6, episode 6,
Mhm.
when we had to do the tightrope, and I gave Foxy some attitude, and he was not happy with that,
Right.
and then as a team, we all had a. I thought for sure they were going to put that in because how we were all dying. Me and
Mhm.
Bree are crying, looking back at each other, being like, "Are we quitting right now?" Like we probably did about 10 to 12 suicides up and down that steep hill, holding the 30-pound Birkins on our backs and holding the planks. I don't think my body was ever more fatigued in my life. And that also showed like what they did to us if somebody was disrespectful or somebody did something out of line. And they didn't even show that. And I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, I almost tapped out on that one too because midway through that challenge, they made me drop my bag. Like Rudy was like, drop your bag. And I'm like, okay, listen to him or he's gonna, God knows what's gonna happen next.
Yeah.
And then I started doing lunges at my bag. I get up and he's like, go get your bag. Now I'm last. And I was like, and he's like, we're pulling 2 numbers. If you're second to last or last, you're getting pulled. So it's all that mental stuff they don't show. And I'm like, now I'm in a full sprint trying to catch you and everybody. Like, I was like, I'm going to be out on this. Like, this is crazy.
Oh.
They didn't show any of that.
No,
I
none
was
of it.
exhausted.
And it was like that was so mentally tough for me because I felt like I put us all in that situation. So then I felt so bad because I was like, I should have been the one running the sprints, not any of you. And I just felt so bad. Then at the same time, I felt like I was gonna quite literally die. But I was like, I don't know which
Oh,
way to
you did.
turn. I was like, this is so hard. And it really was. It was just so challenging. I got super emotional during this show, and I think there were times when you did too. Did it bring up anything from your past that you hadn't really dealt with before?
Yeah, I think all encompassing with I felt when you're vulnerable like that and you're facing your fears. Like my biggest fear, I think, is I'm like a pretty private person and no one really truly knows about what goes on behind the scenes. So my biggest fear is like telling my story and using my voice. And I was like, okay, I got over the fear of water and all this stuff. And when we had that time together, I felt so close to everybody. Like I felt everybody
Oh
was
my,
supporting each other. And so
oh
then
yeah.
I was like, it's time. Like it's time for me to do this. And I'm not a crier. I like probably have cried 3 times in my life. I don't even know how to cry. So
That's not good, Christy.
I know,
You need to let your emotions go.
I
That is
know.
not good.
But I was trying to even talk to you guys. I was like, I don't even know how to cry. Like this is all coming out. This is real. Like this is pure emotion. I'm like, it needs to be done. So I am happy that I got my story out and as embarrassed as I was, and it was really hard to watch back because all that emotion, but the story had to be told of what I dealt with behind the scenes and still was able to be a strong female and get through it, and then hopefully I help other people.
On Special Forces, because you were able to really use your voice, has that given you more confidence now?
Yes, it's giving me confidence, but still everything's baby steps. It's like I couldn't watch it. It was just like I had to leave the room when I went into the mirror room. Like I wasn't quite ready to like embrace it, I guess, of watching myself be in that uncomfortable position because I've never really witnessed that. So I just kind of moved away, and then my daughter and I sat down later and watched it and just had a good talk about it, and
Yeah.
it's getting through it together as a family.
And how do, now that your daughters watched that, I'm sure you brought them along with you throughout your entire ride. So they're your rock. They're like your
Yeah.
best, they're your best friends, as they
Yeah.
should be. Watching that and, actually hearing you say, like, I had to put a restraining order and there were things put in place, like,
Yeah.
how do your daughters react to that? Do they support you? Do they understand that? Does this ever like make them nervous about finding love or finding their person? Or do they realize like how do you help them cope through that?
Just truth and honesty, talking it out, not exposing too much. But, when you have a full restraining order on your ex-husband, that's also the father of your children, it's very sensitive. So you're trying to make sure that they still have their own personal relationship with him, but like mom's not included, so,
Yeah.
and then just seeing the signs of, what I saw and what I didn't do and what I enabled and allowed to happen for so long,
Yeah.
that I just can make sure I'm communicating constantly with them about how they're supposed to be treated as a female, and not giving in and being confident, because I wasn't the most confident person off the field. On the field, I was in my element. Like, I loved who I was when I was competing. I never liked who I was off the field. I wasn't that confident, strong person I should have been. I allowed too much to happen. And so I learned, and I stayed in something way too long. And I just constantly communicate with them to make sure they're in a happy place.
And I'm sure they appreciate that so much. I mean, honestly, I think even just from a mother's standpoint, talking to their daughters, my mom does that same thing, like just tells us everything,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's oversharing,
Yeah.
just so that we're prepared for anything in life.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the best way to be because it really sets you up for your future.
Yeah. I mean, honesty is the first way to go. Like, I can't hide from it. I just want to make sure that they understand what I went through and how I handled it and what I didn't handle, make sure that they're not put in that same situation.
Definitely. So they still have a relationship with their father.
Yeah. I mean, it's minimal. They live with me full time. I
Yeah, that's what
understand
I thought. Yeah.
what goes on. I only got the full restraining order. I mean, it was 8 years after I was divorced. So there has been a lot going on, a lot going on. But, and it's almost been a year now that I've had the full restraining order. And it's touching because, my younger daughter, we still play sports and I still have to be in the kind of the same area. So, that brings up, a lot of triggers for me that I'm working
Yeah.
on. So yeah, they're with me majority of the time, and they see them when they feel comfortable enough to see him.
Yeah, definitely. What age did you start talking to your daughters about this?
It was later, to be honest. Just because when I divorced, they were 10 and 6, so
Okay,
they
so
were
they were
young.
younger.
So I was just making sure that I didn't want to like influence them or
Yeah.
like steer them in the wrong direction. And they were young, and I was protecting them, so I kept a lot quiet because I
And
didn't
I
want
mean, that's
them to.
that's very big of you though, because you probably felt like I want to protect them, but even though they were 10 and 6, they were still very young. When you're young, I feel like you're smarter than even when you're older, and you observe so many things when you're younger, and you like hold that with you when you are older.
Yeah.
So it's such a tricky situation, but it's like I remember things from when I was younger and I was like, wow, I was actually right about that. Like I called this when I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
So there's certain things where it's like, when is the right time? But we actually observe a lot more when we're younger than we even realize.
Yeah. And you get torn. I felt bad because it's like I never wanted to put them in the middle. So I try not letting it come into the household, and
Of
then
course.
you're trying to keep it nice and calm. But once I filed for the restraining order, like, they obviously understood and knew. And then, more and more came out of, details and stuff I've been storing, and just like years and years and years of that abuse that, they eventually had to listen about, and understand. But I thought they were old enough to digest that,
Yeah.
to, understand what was going on and how to move forward from there. I mean, it's tough. It's tough on your kids, especially living in a
No,
small community,
for sure.
being, the face of soccer for so long, and being in that position, like I just wanted to make sure that they had a journey of their own life that wasn't always getting looked down upon, because kids are mean. It's like high school years, now into college. Riley's in college, so she doesn't get it as much. But my younger one, she's in high school, so it's
Yeah.
hard to navigate when you're in the public eye, as you've grown up that way, so you
No,
understand.
definitely. And I mean, that's also very big of you, though, to always kind of show them to have respect of their father. And, and that's great that they still even have a relationship with him and can do that. And that just shows like how good of a mother you are, because some parents, would brainwash their kids and tell them, you're with me and not him. And it shows a lot about yourself too.
Yeah, they both made the choice at their own age when they wanted to live with me full time. It was like 50-50, but it turned quickly. Both of them decided to move in full time. And, it's part of it. It's their father. It's like they have to have their own relationship and they have to learn for themselves. And I just want to make sure that they're treated correctly from their father too, and not making sure that my name's constantly being brought up. It's like have a
Yeah,
separate relationship and make sure that's the way your relationship is with him.
definitely. You had to medically withdraw on day 7. Christy, I didn't know how upset you were. My heart was breaking when I saw that
Yeah.
because I mean, for anyone who's listening, Christy was taking it home. Christy was taking it to the end.
Mm-hmm.
She was incredible. But that day was really emotional for you. And how did it feel to be forced out like that before? Because you weren't ready. You
No, I
weren't ready
wasn't
to go
ready. I was
home.
like heartbroken, but it was hard because I was just so sick. And I was like, I
Well,
didn't
and
want
I don't think anyone knows this, but I mean, if you want to explain kind of what happened to you when you got home from special forces, because I think
yeah.
that's what shocked me even the most, honestly, because we heard you coughing and we knew it was really bad, and that's why we knew you didn't want to go to medical, but we were like, Christy, you gotta go. Like it was bad.
Yeah. No, it was, I mean, you and Sean, when you're like, you have to see medical, I was like, I don't want to, because I knew he was going
Yeah.
to pull me. But at the same time, I'm like, it is my health. I need to take care of this. But yeah, I fought for like 4 days there of, trying to
Yeah.
deal with this cough and the exhaustion and like fatigue. And I was starting to get a little bit delirious, not to lie. Like it just, at some point,
Oh
just like
yeah.
I didn't know where I even was. But
Well,
like,
because the cough also that it kept you up all night. You were not sleeping.
no, I was like at some points pacing because I was like, just drink water. Because I felt then I was keeping everybody else up. I was like, this is terrible.
No.
This is terrible. But my journey home, I don't even know how I got home, to be honest, because, once you're done, it's like, okay, you're on the plane. I went to like Istanbul, from Istanbul home. I had no idea if I was even on the right plane. I didn't eat for probably 5 days
Oh my
because I
God.
just was so exhausted. I literally just laid in bed, took my daughter to school. I I don't even know how I did it, but I took my dogs for like a 30-minute walk and I was just done. I was so tired, so fatigued. I didn't have I lost like 15 pounds because I just was nauseous, no appetite, coughing. My kids didn't even know who I was. Like they were a little scared when they saw me because of how depleted I looked
Yeah.
and then the cough. But then I just, rested. And after like 10 days, I started kind of getting back to myself. And then
But you went to the hospital when you got home, right?
I wanted to, but I didn't.
Wait, Christy, you told me
Yeah,
you did. You
yeah.
told me you got antibiotics.
No, they gave me some meds when I left. And then I came home on the third day. I was like, I have to go to the hospital. I can't function. Like, something's wrong. And then I just was like, I'm going to sleep it off. Like, I'm just going to keep with these meds.
Oh my gosh, never do that again,
I know it was
please.
bad. I probably should have gone, but I just was like, I can't. I'm like, and then I kept saying to myself, what am I going to tell them? Like, I was in Morocco, like eating dirt, like, pretty much. And
Pretty
yeah, I
much.
was just like, let me see if I could just weather this storm. I was a disaster, to be honest, but I'm better. I'm better now.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely scary just seeing you medically withdraw because you were so tough, and it was just scary to see. Like, I think it was weird because I didn't really understand, like, okay, how are we going to get an infection out here? I mean, obviously there were multiple ways of how we could have gotten an infection. We were swimming in the grossest water and inhaling so much dust and dirt. But then it's like, to see it actually happen to you, it was like, wow, okay, so this can happen and this
Yeah.
is happening. And that's what was the freakiest part about it.
Because when I was breathing, I felt the crackling. Like I felt my chest crackling. As like every task we did that was anything with running, I was just like trying to do short breaths so that I could like keep up with you guys because I just
Yeah.
couldn't breathe. But I was like,
And you obviously never had any medical issues like this prior to Special
no,
Forces.
like knock on wood, I'm very healthy. I'm usually not
Yeah.
sick. That's why I was like, is this happening to me? I'm leaving because I'm sick. Like, how can I not push through this? Like I was just
Yeah.
really, second guessing everything when I got home. I was like really disappointed that, I'm like, did I make the right decisions? That I just pushed through until I passed out? Like I was just like, that's usually how headstrong I am, so I definitely knew I made the right choice because I was really sick. But,
No, you were.
I always, what if, you always think of those stuff like, what if I just kept going?
Yeah, of course.
But
I mean, I said this, I feel like we all talked about this too. Whenever anyone left, it's not, and that's why being medically withdrawn is like the hardest way to leave because you don't want to.
no,
But even for the people who tapped out, it's like you regret it instantly. You
mm-hmm.
wish you stayed.
Yeah,
So, and it's weird because it was such a mind altering thing. Like, we just wanted, at the end of the day, yes, it was so challenging and we all wanted to tap out probably every day at some point.
mm-hmm.
But then it was like a mental thing. Like, you got to keep going. You got to keep going.
You're
Like,
almost there. I always say like
yeah.
there, like just get to the next meal. You're almost there.
Yeah. Like, where's lunch? Because I never ate dinner. I only ate lunch.
It's, same. I barely ate because I was just like couldn't. I was so tired, and it was so hot. And the last thing I wanted to do was like eat that. I just wanted a bar. I was like, just give me. I could just have bars the rest of
Oh, those bars saved all of us.
the time. Yeah, that's all I
All
need.
of us.
Like, just give me that. Like I don't even need the food.
No, literally. I feel like Special Forces cast everyone for a reason, and everyone got their own angle or story, which I thought Fox did a really good job. Did you feel like they really told your story in the way you would have wanted them to?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I just,
I just
I
felt like they were
really,
so respectful.
they
Like, they
were. Yeah.
really did it really good.
Yeah, I agree. I think they definitely were looking out for each and every one of us and wanted us to find our purpose on coming on the show. And they, I don't think they truly embarrassed anybody. They just
No.
showed personalities. I think they really do a good job of the editing part because as much as I want them to show a lot more, like we said earlier, how hard it was, they really truly are there for each and every one of us.
They really are.
Mhm.
How did they approach you?
I just my agent got a call like 2 weeks prior to the show,
2 weeks.
2 weeks prior, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, I have no training. I have no idea. Like, what like I can't swim. That's what my first reaction was. I can't swim. Like, I
My
can't."
mom said the same thing.
And then I was like, "Why not? Like, why not? Like, I love challenges. That's the part I miss the whole locker room feel. Like, I wasn't competing anymore, and I was like, well, this is a lifetime an opportunity to meet people like you, and just be around amazing people in a locker room type feel, facing your biggest challenges. Like, what's better? Once in a
Yeah,
lifetime.
definitely. Did you kind of have a feeling of what they were expecting from you on this show, or a kind of like a sense of why they wanted you on this season?
No, I'll be honest, I really didn't watch too many episodes. So I knew like because one of my former teammates, Carly, was on the show in the first season. And I remember
Okay.
this, when she got submerged underwater, I couldn't watch it anymore because I'm like, that's like watching her panic, she
Yeah.
does. So watching her panic is like, I can't see her in that state. So I never watched the show. I knew about it, obviously. And then I started watching like clips and I was like, yeah, I can't watch anymore. I will not go on the show. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't really want to have too much information. So when I got there, I was like, wow, this is legit. Like, these,
No, so
like,
legit. And I mean, I binge watched the third season and
you
I
did.
watched a little bit of season 1 and 2. So I kind of knew like what some of the challenges were going to be like,
Mhm.
but watching it and actually doing it, please, it's like you can't even compare it.
Yeah. No, because I remember Sean watched, she's like, I watched everything. So I was kind of that annoying little kid next to her. I was like, what's next? What's next? She's like, well, we probably have 3 or 4 more workouts. I was like, okay, I'm not going to ask you
I
anymore. I'm like,
know,
what?
right?
What? Like, are you kidding me? It
He
was,
was so funny.
yeah,
Oh,
like everything she did. I was like, okay, I'm just going to follow in your footsteps.
oh yeah, no, literally everyone was following Sean.
Yeah.
But you and Sean had a very like the way that you guys moved, it was very, and it was funny because the DS said it too, very robotic. Like you
Yeah.
guys were just attentive, like did everything that they said, and it was like it was almost like yeah, like mechanical. Like you guys just like did it. And that definitely comes from you both of your backgrounds, but it was so like inspiring and amazing to watch you guys because I was like that like like due diligence and like determination like has to come from just all the training that you guys have been through.
Oh, absolutely. I think Sean and I are so used to that discipline too, of like whatever's been what you're told to do, you do it, or there'll be consequences. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do anything extra. Like even to what we brought.
Yes, I don't want to do anything extra. Like if you screw up, then you're gonna have to do 10
Yeah,
sprints.
yeah. Like even we were even talking about what we brought in with us, like in our bag. Like the two of us had like barely anything. I had like a travel bottle of shampoo and conditioner that obviously lasted one day, but we were just like, my whole fear was like, I don't want to get caught with anything, and that was just the upbringing. It's like, you're told what to do, you do it. I'm like, I think we both thrive with discipline.
I know you guys were so funny. Sean and Christy, they would use my hairbrush. They literally brought nothing. I was like, guys,
Yeah.
I was like, I told them that I'm on Accutane. I needed my moisturizer, my
You're like, put your
Aquaphor.
moisturizer on. I'm like, I don't even have shampoo.
I brought everything that I could, everything. I was like, they can't do this to me. This is crazy.
Yeah. No, we were definitely tapping into your stuff.
Oh no, please. We were all sharing it. And then it was funny because it was like, and it, my mom was like, it was like when she was in prison, like every time somebody left, we would get all their stuff. Eva left, she gave us all her stuff. Like every time someone left, it was like all the commissary they had, they gave it to us.
Absolutely. It's like, what do you got in that bag?
So funny.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something a little brighter now, but you've been with someone new for a while now.
Mhm.
And how is this relationship different and what feels better or healthier this time around?
Yeah, just he understands me. Like he understands my stubbornness, like my mentality and, everything I've been through, because he witnessed some parts of what wasn't so great in my relationship and, helped me get out of it. So I feel like I feel safe with him, and he's just really, really supportive of me and my dreams and my, how I see my future. So like it's just refreshing knowing that someone's not trying to live through me, that someone's there on the journey with me and wants to be part of my journey.
I love
We're
that.
doing it together. He's awesome.
And I mean, I know this is always so hard because you went through your divorce and people said things about that. And no matter what, people are always going to have something to say. Do
Uh-huh.
you feel like sometimes the public does not understand who you're with right now?
Oh, 100%. 100%. The public always has their own viewpoints on things because, I met him through soccer, right? I met him through, like, he was my coach at one point, but he was also in my friend circle, because he was friends with my ex. And I didn't really get to know him all that well until he became my coach, because I didn't really hang out. I wasn't allowed to hang out with the boys when I was with my ex husband. So the relationship just developed, and he witnessed some stuff when I was allowed to hang out. And, unfortunately, he saw the worst and kind of switched. He went from not really liking me to supporting me and helping me. And, people just look at it as headlines as, I started, a relationship with my coach, but I was in my 40s, and he really truly helped support me get out of an abusive relationship. And I couldn't thank him enough. And then, of course, when you become really close to someone, friends, I fell for him. I fell in love with him. And
he helped you get through a really
I
rough
couldn't,
time.
yeah, there's nothing I could do about it. It's like you can't help who you fall in love with. And, and we started a relationship, and he's been in the girls' lives for a long time. And, he respects and has been a great stepfather to the girls. So, like, did I want it to happen that way? Obviously not. Like, but in the end of the day, like, I have this supporting, loving husband that, I know what happened. I don't need to, like I said, I'm a private person. I really haven't, I'm starting to now tell my story. And everyone's going to have their own opinion. And that's fine. They don't know what I've been, they have no idea what I went through and how everything ended up working out the way it probably should have been for me. Like, I finally got my path in life, and I finally found my happiness a little bit later in life.
And, as long as he is amazing to you and amazing to your daughters, that is all that matters.
It is. It truly is. It's like I'm living my own life. Like, people can have their opinions in my view, but they don't see my day to day. They don't see what I have to go through and what I have to deal with. And they can have your own opinions, but like, I know deep down I can sleep good at night because I've made the right decisions for myself and my family.
1000%.
Yeah.
Let's get into a little bit of your time as captain of the women's national team. What's part of women's soccer, much less being the captain, that people don't see?
I think people don't see all the stuff that you do behind the scenes. I think they see what is on TV. They see game days, they see social media, but there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. And I think what helped me be a good captain is that I was a mom. The girls were on the road with me majority of the time. So my door was always
you homeschooled them, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Riley, my oldest, started going to school full time like second grade, but they allowed her to miss a good chunk of kindergarten and first because they felt like being on the road in that culture and seeing it in person was just as an education experience as being in school. Definitely. So she was able to travel a lot longer. And then Reese, she was 6 when my career was over with the national team, so she went right on to kindergarten.
Yeah.
So it was a great experience. They were around amazing female role models. It couldn't have been a better experience.
Oh, for sure. They probably just learned so much. I mean, traveling and seeing the world like that, I feel like that's the best way to just learn and experience everything.
Yeah, I mean, both of them at 6 weeks, I was back with the team, traveling, and 3 months I was back on the field competing. So I was just like, like, no time wasting. Let's go. Let's get back out this. It was like my mentality is like, I'm not losing my position. I want to get it back out there. I want to, give what I can, even if it wasn't 100% on the field. I was going to be off the field as a leader, and making sure that, playing on the best team in the world, like, it's very competitive. So, I wanted to make sure that if I wasn't there physically, I could be there, mentally and supporting and helping, whether it was players trying to build confidence or even the coaching staff, giving them confidence. Sometimes, media is rough. So it was a good balance as a captain, trying to keep that whole locker room together.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. When you look how women's sports are treated today, do you ever feel bitter about what you didn't get?
I mean, yes and no, but knowing where they are now to where we began, because it was tough when I first started. I was, my first contract was $6,000, and
wow.
Working a couple different jobs and, trying to fend for yourself. And then, where they are now. I mean, when I retired professionally in 2017, I was making $35,000 a year. So and you look at it, that's not too long ago. And now these girls professionally in the NWSL are making, some decent money, not where they
Yeah,
could be, but it's growing and it's getting better. But we just, still need those same opportunities to continue to push to make those salaries a lot more.
definitely. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All that work you guys put in. God, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that's
The
really
national team is there.
crazy.
Like the national team level is getting better. Like the money is getting better through sponsors, and US soccer and fighting against FIFA and doing all that stuff off the field
Yeah,
has helped a ton. It's just now professionally within our own country, we need to still have the backing of the sponsors and the support of the fans to keep growing it so these girls can get paid what they deserve to get paid.
definitely. Who do you think is the future of women's sports today?
Well, in soccer or just all around and
I guess soccer,
yeah,
because yeah, we'll say soccer.
yeah, because I mean, like honestly, like the Caitlin Clark for basketball, like she was a big buzz, which I think helped just people want to watch sports. Not even just basketball, but then within soccer. But there's a younger generation now up and coming for soccer because I would say all the household names, have retired or which I'm loving. There's so many of them that are getting pregnant, and
Oh,
starting their families and then wanting to like get back after it. So
yeah,
yeah, this new younger generation is going to be a good test to continue to push, and lead the ones behind them to take over.
definitely. You've spent your career dealing with so much pressure, expectations, and criticism. What's something that you still struggle with mentally today?
I think always being judged. I think trying to get that out of my head is because my whole life, I was being judged even I even feel like when I was 5 because I was a great player. Like, everybody was always looking at me. Everybody was always talking about the little
Jealous,
girl.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like a little jealousy. So I think always being judged when you step out into the real world, just off the field. I think that's what I'm really working on the mental side of it is like that I'm not being judged all the time when I think people are constantly judging me. And it's, people don't care as much as you think they do. So it's just, again, taking that deep breath to get out and just like live your life, and not worry so much about what people think of you. But it's hard because,
That's how you have to be.
yeah, it was like, it's what was always, I'm always getting critiqued, whether it was film, whether it was like, sports and then I got into commentating. I wrote a book. I co-wrote a book with a good friend of mine. So it was just like I was always dabbling, but it's just that pressure of people always judging, I think, is the hardest thing when you transition into that next part of my life. I just tired of being judged, but that's part of my inner voice saying keep moving forward.
No, and that's all you have to do because obviously soccer was your love and your passion. And then when that ended, life goes on. You have to figure out what your next passion is. And I know that's definitely probably a really difficult transition, but no matter what, the public, they're going to say what they want to say. But honestly, their opinion is this big
Yeah,
compared to what you can build.
yeah.
So just think about it. It's probably some ugly troll behind their phone, and
Right.
it doesn't even matter.
I hear you.
You're doing way bigger and better things. All right, I want to talk. I want to talk to you about episode 8 a little bit before we wrap up this
Yeah, I would love
episode.
to hear it. Yes.
So we basically it was actually probably the hardest physical challenge we ever did.
I can't
It
even.
was basically like this mountain that reminded me of like an ice cream cone. So
Okay.
it just kept going up and up and up and up. And like each every time you made it around one circle, you had to grab another piece of equipment. So it was like we made it up the one circle, we
Mhm.
had to grab a tire. Okay, bring the tires to the one spot. Then we had to bring sandbags to another spot. Then the last stretch were chains.
I've seen like, yeah.
We
Oh,
had chains wrapped around us, like fully wrapped around us. And That challenge, I don't know what it was, Christy, and I think it was because we really didn't have to, like, we couldn't run. Like
There's all
you
like,
could run as much as you wanted, but like you were really just like lunging and pulling yourself up this mountain because it was so steep. And I was honestly really proud of myself that day because I felt like I always kind of finished last. But even though I finished last. I was the first one out of the girls to finish that challenge.
yes, well done.
And I was like, "See, I'm getting stronger as this is
Getting
going
stronger.
on."
You were though, because you think you were like saying you weren't maybe as fit as you'd like to be,
Yeah,
right? And then
no,
you were
well,
getting
I was in
fit,
Italy. I just did
right?
not
Yeah,
prepare for this properly.
but you were getting fit as you were getting through those days. You know,
Yeah,
I was it day, you said day 8,
it was
right?
day 8.
You were already lifting every day and
Yeah.
getting fitter and fitter. So well done.
No, yeah, so that was crazy though. It was like nuts. And then um Sean and Bree obviously made it through that. They were awesome. But it was a little scary though because the DS were being rough with the chains.
They
So
were.
like I finally got my chains off of me and Sean's were actually wrapped around her neck. And Andrew, like, that was the first time I ever saw Andrew like get a
Yeah.
little annoyed, you know? And he was like, oh my God, like, why were these around her neck?
Yeah.
And I think it was just like not even realizing it, but they were so heavy.
Yeah.
Like, me, Sean, and Jesse were the shortest ones on the
Yeah. You're so
course.
tiny. Yeah.
And it was just like crazy.
Yeah.
So, I think that was the first time I was like, oh, I was like, but it's okay, Andrew. That is your wife, as you should. You should be pissed right
I know.
now. I was like, I'm trying to catch my breath, but yeah,
Yeah,
you should
go
be
for it. I'm
so
just gonna
mad.
breathe over here. Wow.
But yeah, and then after that challenge, that night we went on our mission.
So that's when you go and then they caught you. Wow.
So that was crazy because they just kind of dropped us off. I think it was actually close to where the dam was,
Oh, okay.
around there.
Right. You were thinking, okay.
But we were in like a town. Like there was little convenience stores,
You just
like
hiding, trying to hide.
hide. But then there was like a map and we had to basically find the safe house.
Okay.
And each like destination,
Okay.
we would get closer and closer.
Okay.
But then eventually,
How long do you think you guys were on the run for before they caught you?
it was light out.
It was.
Yeah, I think we probably started the mission around 5 or 6,
Okay.
and we were on our feet until like 12 or 1,
Wow.
just like running
Running.
through it.
Wow.
And then it came to the point where they were like, okay, like
Got you.
you're about to get captured. So just like, because we were like getting close to like the safe house, but I don't think like the safe house really existed
Yeah.
because they had to capture us.
Yeah.
But then it basically came to the point where they were like, okay, guys, like prepare yourselves. You're about to get captured.
Yeah.
And even though they said that, it was like there was no way of preparing
Yeah.
yourself. Like the dogs were barking, like screaming at you. We had the black things over our heads again, and it was just like trembling, like
Yeah.
was
You're
so
like now what?
scary.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can't see. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what they're
No.
for you.
And it was like, at the end of the day, yeah, you have the DSs, but like everyone else was like these random people,
And
just like, oh, like these random dogs and these random people like
no, I hear you.
throwing you around. And it's like, who are
Yeah,
you?
where am I going? But you did when they brought you back, you still had no idea where you did you know you're back on the compound? Like did you
Like, yeah,
kind of
you kind of put it together, especially when like you were getting out of the car and then like just kind of like, but it was crazy. Like, obviously, we'll see the rest of the
yeah.
days, but um
Did you hear their
you
voices?
you kind of figured it out because then once we got back to the compound and went into interrogation, you were like, okay, this is our dorm.
Okay.
Like all of our beds were gone.
Oh, got
So
it.
it was like little things, and we were allowed to go to the bathroom,
Mm,
but and get a glass of water.
okay.
But like, so when we went to the bathroom, I was like, okay, clearly I'm
Here,
sitting
this
on
is,
the
you can tell.
piece
Yeah.
of plywood right now. But like, then you would put it together little by little.
But you still couldn't really, you couldn't see at this point. You still
No,
had the bag. Yeah.
no, yeah, they kept the bag over our head until we reached the bathroom. So like they like directed you, like your
Got
hands
it.
were like this
Yeah,
in
yeah,
front of
they put
you,
you
and it was like this directing you.
wow.
It was terrible. It was like we were talking to the
Yeah.
DSs 24/7, but I kept asking for water because I'm like, I need water just so I could breathe because I
Breathe.
was like,
Yeah.
I'm dying.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, I'm excited for you to watch the rest of it,
Yeah,
even
man.
though I wish you were there with us.
I know. It's fun because I'm like, oh, I wish I could have been doing that,
I know.
But yeah,
But you were like so close, literally so close.
I know. Because you did the
Like,
gassing and then like all activity, like physical stuff after that.
well, and that's why,
Yeah.
like, when you left that morning, the gas would have
Oh,
probably taken you out, like,
yeah.
with your lungs.
Yeah,
And
there's no,
then day 8, how it was so physically
yeah, everything.
challenging,
Mhm.
like, you
I
probably
wouldn't
wouldn't,
have
you
breathed.
wouldn't have been able to breathe. No,
Yeah.
it would have been too rough. But I mean, I think everyone knows how tough you are, and the DS were definitely really disappointed to see you go.
Yeah, I was disappointed. Like even when they came in, they're like, "You do cry."
You're not a robot.
No,
This
you're
is
not a
good to
robot.
know.
I was like, yes, I do. Not often, but I am crying right
Oh, Christy, well, thank you so much for coming on Casual Chaos. It was so good to see you, and I
now.
can't wait for you to watch the rest of Special Forces, live your journey, and just keep building your confidence and strength.
Thank you. I'm so happy our paths crossed. I got to meet you.
So am I. I know we have to hang out down the
Absolutely.
shore this
Yeah,
summer.
100%. 100%.
We need a little Special Forces reunion, me, you, and Chanel, because we're
Yeah.
all in the Jersey area.
Yes, absolutely. I watched one of the episodes with Chanel. It was so much fun.
Oh, I saw that. That was so cute.
She's awesome. Yeah, so we'll have
Oh,
to get back together.
yes, definitely. All right. Well, thank you, Christy.
All
I'll
right.
see you soon.
Good to see
Mwah.
you. Yeah.